Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Hayden Sports. Just want to, again, quick thank you for everyone that came by last time and the 16 subscribers that I got now. So appreciate every one of you, and it's a really fun experience so far, like I said. So I'm going to get right into it right away and start with the MLB because there's a lot more going on, obviously, because it's their season playoffs. So last night, the Atlanta Braves took a 2-0 series lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the starting pitchers was Goslin for LA and Ian Anderson for the Braves. So the big thing in this game was definitely just the veteran presence of what I'd say is just Freddie Freeman. He's been with the Braves now, they said in the big leagues, for 11 years, and he's been with the Braves for longer than that in their system. He's probably been the most loyal one through their down years. So, first off, it was Chris Taylor of the Dodgers, and then Austin Riley, the third baseman for the Braves, that started off and flashed the defense plays and kept the pitchers in the game early. Speaking of Freeman first, again, hit another leadoff home run and made it 2-0. And that was his second straight game with a homer. And what better time to show up in the playoffs? So, Braves' Ian Anderson, the starting pitcher, over the last 15.2 innings pitched, he's allowed 0 earned runs. So, he's been lights out for the Braves. Every time he comes on, they're terrified of him. And now later on in the game, there was a situation where there was a runner on third with 2 outs, and Freeman came up, and he's a pull hitter, so they played to pull, and they all went to his right. And a lot of players these days, what it frustrates me with is that they can't learn to beat the shift and their tendencies. So they all lined up on the right side. There was a hole between third and second base, and he poked it through there, and that got the Braves more runs. So great veteran hitting by Freddie Freeman. Dansby Swanson, who was the former first overall pick, he hit a ground rule double and blew it open for the Braves, making it 7-0. So there's a lot of names you could go through on the Braves that you can just go down the line and they're all contributing and they're getting hot at the right times, and that's why they're up 2-0 right now. And then Seager for the Dodgers hit a 3-run shot that got the Dodgers back into it, gave them some momentum, and that's the thing. You can't let the Dodgers get back into it. They have a never-say-die attitude, and this is where they got really close. Ozzie Albies, again, talked about him last game, switch hitter, again, batting from the right side of the plate, hit another home run for them. He hasn't really hit for average this year, but he's hit big home runs in big spots. And actually, so the relief pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, Mark Melancon, he caught Ozzie Albies' home run yesterday night when he was getting warmed up in the bullpen. Albies hit another one last night. Melancon caught it again warming up. So, same home run, same spot. Pretty impressive. Late in the game, Max Muncy and Cody Bellinger came up, and they both hit homers. Bellinger hit a double, Muncy hit the homer, made it 8-7. But too little too late, as they held on, closed it out 8-7. So I think that was a really big missed opportunity, and the bats woke up just too late for the Dodgers. Again, told you yesterday, the pressure's on the Dodgers. They're the ones that are supposed to be here. They're the ones that are expected to go to the World Series. It's looking like it's going to be the Braves. If they go up 3-0, I don't know what they're going to do. They definitely can't keep Dave Roberts around as their manager. He's been through too much playoff failure, not leading up to expectations. So now we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to talk about Tampa Bay Rays taking a 3-0 series lead against the Houston Astros. And I'd say from the beginning of the series, if you asked anyone, are the Tampa Bay Rays going to sweep the Houston Astros? They tell you no, right? Like, I wouldn't put money on that. The Astros have such a deep hitting core. And their big guys are showing up, even though they weren't hitting great, especially like Jose Altuve. He hasn't been hitting great throughout the season. They have been, but not enough. It's still 3-0. So, Jose Urquidy started for the Houston Astros. Mexican-born pitcher. He's been with the Astros for a while, won the World Series with them. And Ryan Yarbrough, one of my favorite pitchers. He's a control pitcher and throws nice changeups, two-seamers, four-seamers, all around 90 tops out, but it's his changeup that he gets everyone with. He induces ground balls, and that's why his type of pitcher, being the type of pitcher that he is, really fits the Tampa Bay Rays system. And the defense behind them, I'm going to preach defense. That is what you have to build around. You build your defense, and then you get complementary pieces that they can trust behind them. The pitchers have to be able to trust that if they get those ground balls, that they're going to execute the outs behind them. And that's what the Tampa Bay Rays did tonight. So, we'll start off. Altuve, early on, hit his second home run of the championship series. It was a really high pitch, looked like it was going foul, didn't end up going foul. So, and now, what we saw this game was vintage Kevin Kiermaier. Although he's never really been great with the bat, he has been a staple in center field for the Tampa Bay Rays. He made some great defensive plays. Like, he ran one down, looked like he wasn't getting to it, got it, and the second one he made an absolute vintage diving catch. And he has injured himself in the past on those, and we'll talk about injury in a second, but he's jammed his wrist, he's landed on his back, but if you look at him, he's a very athletic guy. I mean, but doesn't matter how athletic you are, when you're jumping around and diving for balls out there, a lot like Kevin Pillar was when he was with the Blue Jays, you're bound to get hurt because, you're landing on your ribs, you're landing awkwardly backwards, you're running into the warning track wall, but it's great to see. You know what? He'll put his life on the line pretty much for that team. He's been with them since he was drafted. It's great to see it. And again, we also had a great defensive play from the relief pitcher Curtis on the Tampa Bay Rays. He dove off the mound, caught it on a one-hop, and threw it to first. And it just shows that pitchers can be athletes too, right? And that goes for also the starting pitcher yesterday for the Houston Astros, Lance McCullers Jr. He made a great play, but he played shortstop during his high school days. Curtis didn't. So it's cool to see how, we all think that these pitchers just let the ball go by, but you know what? The adrenaline kicks in and they want to be part of it. So, for the second game in a row, Jose Altuve gets credited with an error, but it turns out yesterday I was wrong. He didn't get credited with a throwing error at all. He got the first baseman, Gurriel, got both of them. So, but this was a flat out. He was in the gap and right between second and first where he was. He tried to turn a double play, threw it to first, totally airmailed it, and it's just carrying on. I can't see Houston coming back if your top players and top defensive players, like Gold Glove winner Jose Altuve, isn't executing routine double plays, or even just routine groundouts, and he has to be able to do it. He's one of the best, and he's known for it, and he's not showing up. So you got to think, if the Astros get swept out, what does that mean for their big players? So after the error, giving, again, the Tampa Bay Rays more outs to work with, which you never do because they're a great base-to-base team, Joey Wendell gets a 2-run homer, and that pretty much blew it open. Diego Castillo went in, one of my favorite pitchers out of their pen. Went in, got the job done, made them look silly. Michael Brantley popped out at the end on an 0-2 count. And Michael Brantley, one of their better hitters, but he can't save everyone, right? So that's a 5-1 win for the Rays. So going forward, the Rays have to go for a stranglehold. Like, they already have a stranglehold, but they got to go for the kill. So Tyler Glass now, you want to call him the ace, you can call Blake Snell the ace. He's coming up for the next game and looking to shut them down. 4-0 sweep, 1 win away from the World Series. And the possibility of an Atlanta Braves and Rays World Series, really intriguing to me. That'd be a great series to watch, especially with the young core of the Braves getting a chance to win. So now we're going to go on to some NHL news. There isn't much, but there is a little bit. Actually, as I was recording yesterday, the Maple Leafs signed a goaltender. They signed Aaron Dell, who was the backup goaltender for the San Jose Sharks for a couple seasons, to Martin Jones. So he's on a 1-year deal. $800,000, and we still have Jack Campbell for 2 more years as our backup, but he's a goalie that you think could probably be waived and have Dell as the full-time backup to Anderson. So his record was 12-15-3 last year with a 3.01 goals against and .910 save percentage as the backup on a San Jose team that didn't make the playoffs. But he's shown at times that he can be serviceable when either Jones was out or Jones wasn't performing. He was able to. And that was a big issue for the Leafs last year, is Michael Hutchinson. Nothing against him. He looked great coming up when he was young. He couldn't get us a win last year as the backup. And you can't, they say today that you can't have your starting goaltender ride 70 games. If you're confident in the backup, they should be able to get 20 wins. That shouldn't be too much to ask. Or 20 games, 15 wins if you're on a really great team. And also, another goaltender that got signed, he recently got traded to the Montreal Canadiens, Jake Allen. He just got signed to a 2-year extension. So he's going to be back up to Carey Price and Caden Primo there, which is Wayne Primo's son, who 7th-round draft pick. Caden actually played his first NHL game last year, and they didn't expect him to be what he is. They're saying he could be the second coming of Carey Price. Who knows? But, so it's Price's net, obviously, because of his contract and their belief in his abilities. But probably what will happen with Jake Allen, even though he's coming over, when Seattle comes into the league and they have to do their expansion draft, they're most likely what it looks like is going to expose Jake Allen to be taken in that draft to the Seattle Kraken. Which, Seattle Kraken, what do you guys think of that name? I personally would like the Seattle Sockeyes to switch names, the Western Hockey League team. They have a really good name, good colors, and that would have been a perfect NHL team. But, all legal things, they can't take their name. So, but anyways, another team in the NHL is never a bad thing to me. As long as the competition's good and it's not watered down, I think how the draft lottery works, or pardon me, the expansion draft works, it's great, Seattle needs a team. Out of every city that you can think of, you're thinking Seattle doesn't have a team, right? But they lost their basketball team already, so. And now we're just going to quickly go over the remaining top unrestricted free agents in the NHL right now. So the top one on the board is Mike Hoffman, who just finished out a season, his last season with the Florida Panthers. He got 29 goals and 30 assists. Always been a good goal scorer, but it seems like drama always followed him. So maybe that'll affect how his contract is given because of the drama that happened with him when he was in Ottawa with Erik Karlsson. We won't get into that, but it basically, it affected his stock for trade value, and we'll see what it does for his contract. Maybe that's why he's still on the board. Second one, his teammate, also Florida Panther, Evgeny Dadonov, who came back over from Russia, drafted a while ago, but he came over and he was productive. Everyone was wondering if he wasn't going to be able to adjust the NHL game, but he did a very fine job for the Florida Panthers, and it'd be great for them to bring him back. So he had 28 goals and 37 assists last year and complemented the Florida Panthers forward core very well. And they missed out on the playoffs again. I know they made it in the play-in round, but normal year you wouldn't have been in. So the third one on the list is Sami Vatanen. He 5 goals, 18 assists for the Carolina Hurricanes after being traded over from the Anaheim Ducks. So interesting to see where he'll go. He's a decent two-way defenseman. Never been flashy or anything, but to me it's kind of interesting how he's still on the board. And the last one is probably the most interesting one on the board that you actually kind of forget about how he was so hyped up coming up. So Alex Galchenyuk. He was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, 3rd overall, 2012. And he had a 30-goal season with them, but he just never quite met expectations. And I don't know. It always seems like it's a mystery when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, but nothing worked with him. He ended up getting traded to the Arizona Coyotes 1-for-1 for Max Domi, and then he flipped around, Pittsburgh Penguins, Minnesota Wild, and that was his last time he played. He had 7 points for the Minnesota Wild in over 20 games. But he's one of those players you think he might not be able to have a successful career in the NHL, and whatever the reasons are, it's interesting to see how top picks that are so dominant in the junior leagues and overseas just have difficulty being consistent, which is a shame, because you see him on the ice when he's really doing well, and you see his natural ability. But it'll be interesting to see where these guys go. So again, I'm going to wrap that up for tonight. The next games of the ALCS and the NLCS are on tonight, and I'll be covering them tomorrow. So I'm probably releasing another video tonight on some of the Leafs draft, the players that the Leafs drafted. So again, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and thanks for everything.